It's a great honour and a privilege for me to welcome a fellow Ulsterman. Anyone from Cavan here, by the way?
One.
We have? One? We have a few Cavan people here, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're going to hand over the microphone to the President, Ian.
Thank you, Father. Good afternoon, everybody. And glad to be with you. My name is Aogán, which is one variant in Irish of Aiden, and Fearghaíl is my surname, so better known to you as O'Farrell, and I'm sure you're all familiar with O'Farrell Street, certainly here in San Francisco. I'd love to claim that he was a distant relation of mine, but he certainly was an Irishman, Jasper O'Farrell, and he was an engineer. I know he made a lot of money in Montana. So we've always had emigration from Ireland, and Jasper O'Farrell and another fella actually from Cavan, the Copper King of Montana, they made a fortune up in that part of the world and then came down here to San Francisco, and he laid out their street system. I'm delighted to be here. I'm a Cavan man, and as Father McBride has said, you have to be from somewhere. So I'm glad that all two of us will have a group photograph later. But it's a pleasure to be here. My wife Frances is from Monaghan, and just any Monaghan people? Yeah. We have a few. Just very, very briefly, I'm from Cavan, as I said. I grew up in a small little country shop. A lot of you that are from Ireland might remember in the old days you had a rural shop and a post office. My grandparents ran that, and then my father and my mother ran that for many, many years, and then Frances, my wife, ran it. I'd love to say we both ran it, but I can't, because I'm just after receiving Holy Communion, so I have to tell the truth. My wife ran it for many years, but we closed that a few years back for two reasons. Both of them affected us in Ireland quite a lot. Number one, rural decline was an issue for us, and business was declining, but also we had two robberies. And the second one was a very severe one, and we decided that no, we could no longer tolerate that. So that's my own background. We also had pigs as a child when I was growing up, so I'm very much of a rural background. In my own case, I was a school teacher, a principal of a primary school, and I was involved with Frances a little bit in the running of a shop. We also ran what we call a cultural centre, and you're familiar with a cultural centre here. So we had a busy life. But running beside all of that was the GAA. And all my life I played, not well, but I played, and I spent all of my time involved in GA and coaching young people and trying to encourage as many girls and boys, and that's something that is very much a passion of the GA at the moment. We very much encourage everyone, boys and girls, to be part of our association. And I coached for many, many years, for 25 years, constantly, my local under 12 team, and we had a lot of fun. I would never say to people in Ireland or in San Francisco or anywhere the number of trophies we won, because to be honest with you, that doesn't matter. It was the taking part, it was the fun, or if you're familiar with the language we still use in Ireland, it was the crack. And we always enjoyed that. So participation was very important. And I spent my time then in various roles in administration within the GA, and then in 2014 I ran for the position of president, and I was lucky and I was elected. And I enjoyed the role in a major way. I spend 4 or 5 mornings, always 4, sometimes 5, in Croke Park. I still live at home in Cavan. About an hour and a half takes me to Croke Park in the morning. I'm an early riser. I was always used to having a lot of things to do, so my wife kicks me out of bed early in the morning, and I would be in Croke Park most mornings at 8 o'clock. And we would spend a lot of mornings and afternoons involved in meetings and directing policy and whatever, and then every single evening and night I'm on the road. I would be in a different club, in a different part of Ireland, every evening, and in different parts of the world. It is a 7-day role. I would always like to have a morning off or sometimes an afternoon off, but I never take a day off. That's just not possible in the GAA, nor do I want it to be. I'm a volunteer. I'm still paid as a school teacher. I don't draw a salary as president of the GAA. I do it because we want to help and we want to serve. It's all about service. That is the role of it. And a lot of you are very familiar with the GAA, but just in very brief numbers, at the moment we have in Ireland almost 750,000 members. In Ireland we have almost 2,000 GAA clubs, and around the world we now have close to 450. We never had more clubs, either in Ireland or around the world. We have more people playing than ever before and more participation. Internationally, the GAA is very varied. I have now visited every unit, not every club, but every unit where we have GAA, and we're on every continent. We're not on the South Pole, but maybe that might come yet. But we have what we call a county board unit in the United States. We have another one for New York. We have a board unit for Canada. We have another one in Australia, or Australasia, because it includes New Zealand. We also have a board unit in Asia, Middle East and Europe, and there is phenomenal growth. It is changing, and I see it as I travel around. Britain and the United States are, in a certain way, have similarities. We had a lot of Irish coming to the United States and to Britain for generations, right back from 1884. In fact, the GAA, when it was formed in 1884, the very following year, in 1885, they went on a trip to America, the very first year of its infancy. And it's a very interesting story because 78 GAA hurlers and footballers went on that tour. Only 30 of them went home. The rest of them enjoyed this country so much. So that tradition has always been here. So in America and in Britain, we've got generations of GAA, but the new growth is in the new parts of the world. We still have young players coming here to play in San Francisco and all across the States and in Britain. But where I see the huge growth is in places that you would never have thought possible that GAA would live there. The Middle East, Asia. We have 5,000 GAA players in Abu Dhabi. Now Abu Dhabi, I looked at the photographs recently. 40 years ago, Abu Dhabi was a desert. You meet goats in the desert in Abu Dhabi 40 years ago. It has been transformed now, and as I said to you, we have 5,000 young Irish in that one city alone. It is totally changing. We meet a lot of young Irish in Canada and a lot in Australia. Less coming into America for all kinds of different reasons. One of the big changes that we see in the GAA and that we strongly encourage from the GAA around the world, there's two big differences perhaps. In the past, when GAA people came to places like San Francisco or any part of America, they tended to keep the games to themselves. They were generally men, they played, and it tended to be for themselves. And it was good, that was the era of it is. That has been transformed. They're different now. They're much more inclusive. They play games, they are young Irish, but they welcome everybody. There are now people of all nationalities coming into GAA clubs. We encourage that strongly. There are now people who never even heard of Ireland wanting to play Gaelic games in clubs, and we consider that important because in the GAA we do believe it's better to build bridges than to build walls. So that inclusivity is important for us. Another change that we notice in the GAA internationally is a lot of the children of Irish Americans are playing our games, and it's lovely to see that. People of second and of third and of fourth generations. We held the World GAA Games back in Dublin in 2016. Part of the reason for that was to commemorate and celebrate the Easter Rebellion of 1916. And we welcomed the GAA family from the United States, from San Francisco, but from all around the world back. But some of the more interesting ones, for example, we have a GAA club in Buenos Aires in Argentina. Now you are, I'm sure, familiar that our President of Ireland at the moment, Michael D. Higgins, he's in South America at the moment, he's in Peru, and he's retracing the Irish story in Peru. But in Argentina, we have a club that was formed in 1904 by young Irish immigrants. And the captain of the team from Buenos Aires in Dublin, Croke Park, 2016, was a man with a beautiful name. His name was Juan Fernando O'Reilly. And when he was interviewed afterwards on what it meant to him, he's a Spanish speaker and has very poor broken English. But he was interviewed afterwards on what this meant for him, and he stuttered about it, tears came to his eyes, and he said, "This is a gift to my ancestors." So that link is very important. The link back and the connection, because whilst we always remember that we do want to reach out to everybody, the link back to Ireland is very important for all Irish people. So, as president of an association that has a very strong connection with all parts of Irish communities in whatever country that they find themselves in, I'm delighted to be with you. I want to particularly thank you for the kindness you have shown to young immigrants over the years. Not just GAA people, People who played our games and people who played no games. But the young people who have come into this city, in the Bay Area generally, and you have shown such a wonderful warm welcome too, because we hear these stories. Irish people are good at talking, and we hear it back. And if it wasn't true, I couldn't stand before you and say it. But the generosity of spirit you have shown right through the years is wonderful. I want to thank you for that. I would again compliment you, and Father McBride in particular, and Celine and everybody at the Irish Pastoral Center for the great care they showed when that terrible tragedy took place at Fearghaíl. And I think they deserve special credit, and on behalf of the GA and all the Irish community, thank you to Father and to everybody involved in the Pastoral Council for that wonderful care. It was a fantastic sign of the generosity of the Irish spirit, and I will thank you for that. We're here to celebrate because Irish people love celebrating, and it's important that we do, because having fun is important. And if the GA can do anything and bring a little bit of joy into people's lives, and as most of you know, but the GA is far more than a sporting body. Yes, we play ladies football and camogie for girls, hurling and handball and Gaelic football for men, but there's far more than that. We are like what you're doing today. We are a community. We help each other. We look out for each other. We're very strong at the moment in Ireland in what we call health and well-being, and the GA works very strongly with communities, try to encourage people to look after their health, mind and body. We reach out in so many different ways to provide that sense of belonging. Like you were talking about here earlier, you instantly identified with Cavan or Ulster, and more of you identify with Tipperary, with Cork, with Kerry. You know that which flag, when you look up there, that's my flag. I'm a Munster man, I'm a Connacht woman. This sense of identity is very strong, because one of the great things that great sociologists always tell us is that the biggest need the human spirit has is that need to belong. It's why you are here. That's why I am here. That need to belong. And when that does not work, difficulties arise in our lives. And the GAA provides that sense of belonging. We're here this weekend to celebrate
health and well-being. It is an issue for people worldwide, where lifestyles change, and as lifestyles change, habits change. In the old days in Ireland, 90% of people were brought up on farms, and they were used to physical work, they were used to being busy. It was a different era, a different time. We have now changed. Our diet has changed, and it's very important that people have good mental health and have good physical health. And we have identified in the GA that there are issues in many young people in Ireland with physical and mental health, and in an effort to address that, we have set up quite a lot of what we call the Healthy Clubs initiative, where we provide resources, and we provide, more importantly, advice on how they can encourage young people to take part, preferably in our sports and in our games, but many people of all ages.
We're here this weekend to celebrate the Ulster GA Club. They are 30 years here, and they've done tremendous work. They are now the top champion GA club in all of the United States of America. I think that deserves special recognition, and well done to Joe Duffy and all of them. And I know that there's a cameraman down here, and I have a lot of friends in Boston and New York, and if they get to see me saying that, they'll be giving out to me. But of course, it is a fact, because 4 of the last 5 senior championships have been won in the United States by the Ulster Club here in San Francisco, and it is wonderful what they do here. So we're here to celebrate that and to take part with them in a joyful reunion and coming together.
I'm here since 1990. Lucy and myself came over. We actually drove over here from Little Rock, Arkansas. The club had been going 3 years when we arrived here, and just by chance, might as well have joined any club, but I met a family from South Derry, Castle Dawson, the Keenan family, and I met a couple of the boys and they were involved in the club, Terry and Kieran, and it went from there. You know, I got invited out to training, but the club was going well when I got here. And you know, it was started by some great people, and fair play to them for starting the club. There was a need, I believe, at that time. Some of the boys in the club would have played for the Sean McDermotts, and then they felt there was a need for another club, so they decided to call it Ulster, and I got involved at that stage, and I've been involved in it ever since. I played in the early days, not very well, but I still tried, and as I say, just over the years, just stayed involved in it, and you know, it's been great.
In the last 5 years, you won 4 of the USA Championships. How does a club get from small beginnings to that level?
Thank you for mentioning that. I mean, we have won 4 out of the last 5 North American Senior Championships. We won up in Seattle there last year, and we've won in Boston, we've won in Cleveland, we've won in Philadelphia. So it's been nice. I mean, we did start off relatively small with one team, and probably in the last 10 or 12 years we've had our success. In the early days, we had success in the early days, but not at national level, and we were always seemed to be getting beat by a point and maybe beaten in a replay, or just not having the rub of the green. We had some great footballers in the early days, so we just built our way up, and I don't know, the last few years we were very, very blessed with a lot of the home base players, fellas that moved here that happened to get involved in the club from all over Ireland as well. We do recruit our summer players, come over, we get the students, as you know, and we work hard at it. I mean, we try to run our club like a proper GA club, with everybody included in it, and I think that's been a really good thing. There's a good atmosphere around the club. There's not a defeatist attitude. People go out every year, they want to win, they're used to winning and they want to keep winning, so we're very lucky. We do have great competition in San Francisco from the other clubs, and I'm very appreciative of the other clubs in San Francisco. I know we've been very successful, more so than them maybe lately, but there's always been great competition locally here, and with that good local competition, you're able to go to the national level and get it done. Anybody that wins in San Francisco at the minute is a strong team, and that's why we've been lucky over the last few years.
You're celebrating the 30 years this weekend. What does that mean to you personally?
I'd be very, very proud of the 30-year anniversary of the club. We've talked about it for the last year or two. We knew it was coming up, and we celebrated our 20 years, and it seems like yesterday. We celebrated 25, and now we're at 30. 30 years in a GA club, in the history of the GA, and as in Ireland goes, isn't many years. But in the States, it's a great achievement, and I think it should be a great celebration. Just a nice, good party, and get everybody together and celebrate it with a good atmosphere. We've some people coming out from Ireland, but it's just to be great to see everybody celebrating that feat. And there's a lot of clubs around that are more than 30 years, and we decided this year that we would throw a fairly big party, and hopefully it works out well, but it should be a great night and a great atmosphere there.
Ulster GA are celebrating 30 years. It's an important landmark. It's important we recognise it. They've been good to many people who come out to San Francisco. More importantly, they set high standards, and they have won 4 of the last 5 championships here in the United States of America, and that's a big achievement for a new club, and it's something to celebrate, and that's why I'm here.
And that's what the GA does. We try to make sure that we promote a sense of community, that we encourage people to belong and to in some way enliven and enrich. A lot of you, I hope, get to see our All-Ireland finals from Croke Park every year in September, the hurling and the football. We now have what we call GA Go, where you can see them on all kinds of different devices and modern equipment. So it's nice that you're able to keep in touch with that. So for those of you who ever had any link with the GA, or if you never had any link, it doesn't matter. We all belong. I'm delighted to be here with you and to share just a few moments with you this morning. It's nice that you came together and prayed together. And in the GA, we try to do the same. We try to play together. We try to beat the daylights out of our neighbour. But at the end of that, we all celebrate and we all get on to each other. And for those of you who know just a little about the geography of Ireland, I'm from Cavan, I told you, my wife's from Monaghan, and Cavan and Monaghan are not best friends when it comes to GA, yet we're well able to get marriages out of it, so that's a good sign, and there's a lesson in there, I hope, for all of us too. Thank you, Father, and thank you to everybody. Delighted to be here.